Welcome to Dr. CM Edcast, your go-to resource for medical learning. Through discussions, case studies, tutorials, and debates, we help you learn, grow, serve.
So let's talk about the heart. But I don't want you to think of it as just a pump. No, we're going to explore it as this masterfully designed piece of biological architecture. I mean, it's an engine built for a lifetime of absolutely relentless work. Okay, let's just dive right into this incredible machine. Now, at first glance, yeah, it looks like a total tangle of vessels and chambers. But if you look closer, underneath all that complexity, there's this incredibly elegant and efficient design. It's something that's been perfected over millennia. So here's our game plan. We're going to map out the heart's entire blueprint. We'll start big with its overall structure, then we'll zoom right into the walls, the unique muscle that actually powers it, the electrical spark that ignites the whole thing, and finally, the fundamental rules that govern every single beat. All right, let's start with the basic floor plan. You can basically think of the heart as a four-room or four-chambered house, and it's designed to manage two completely different types of traffic all at the same time. Now, this is just brilliant. The heart is split right down the middle, into a right side and a left side. The right side, that's the right atrium and ventricle. It's like the receiving dock for all the deoxygenated blood that's coming back from its long tour of the body. Then you've got the left side, with its atrium and ventricle handling all the fresh, oxygenated blood coming back from the lungs, getting it ready for its next big trip out. And what's so cool about this is how you can see the two totally distinct jobs. The right side is all about powering the pulmonary circuit. Think of it as a short, low-pressure trip to the lungs right next door. But the left side, that's powering the systemic circuit, a high-pressure, long-haul journey to get oxygen out to every single other part of your body. And you can actually see this difference in workload right in the architecture. The wall of the left ventricle is about 3 times thicker than the right. Now, that's not a design flaw. It's a perfect, beautiful example of form following function. It absolutely needs that extra muscle mass to generate the huge amount of pressure it takes to push blood all the way from your head to your toes. So, to prevent total traffic chaos and make sure blood only flows one way, the heart's got these 4 incredible one-way valves. You can think of them like pressure-activated doors. You've got the atrioventricular or AV valves controlling the flow between the upper and lower chambers, and then the semilunar valves, which guard the big exits from the ventricles, snapping shut to stop any blood from flowing backwards. All right, so we've seen the overall floor plan. Now, let's zoom in a little closer and look at the actual construction materials, the walls of the heart themselves, which, believe me, are a lot more than just simple partitions. The heart's wall is this really sophisticated 3-layered structure, and each layer has a very specific, absolutely vital role. They all work together to protect the organ, to give it its raw pumping power, and to make sure the blood has a smooth journey passing through. You know, the key thing to get here is this division of labor. The outer pericardium, that's like a tough, protective carrying case that anchors the heart right in place. The inner endocardium is an ultra-smooth lining, almost like Teflon that prevents friction. And then, sandwiched right between them is the absolute star of the show, the myocardium. That's the thick, powerful muscle that does all the heavy lifting. And that brings us to the engine itself, the myocardium. You see, this isn't just any old muscle tissue. No, it's a highly specialized material with a totally unique structure that makes the heart's coordinated beat even possible. So unlike your skeletal muscles, which are made of these long parallel fibers, cardiac muscle cells are branched and interconnected. I mean, look at them. They're literally fused together, creating what is essentially one single massive interconnected cell. It's like a power grid. And this right here illustrates why that structure is so important. It forms what's called a functional syncytium. Now, what does that fancy term mean? Well, it just means that when one single cell gets an electrical signal to contract, that signal instantly spreads like wildfire to all of its neighbors, causing the entire chamber to contract as one coordinated, powerful unit. But what is that electrical signal? I mean, where does that spark that tells this incredible muscle engine to contract even come from? Well, the answer lies in a really precise electrical event called the action potential. Okay, this graph looks a little complex, I know, but it's basically the electrical signature of a single heartbeat. It's showing the rapid change in voltage across a heart cell's membrane. And it's not just a simple on-off switch. No, it's a very carefully timed sequence of events that gives the heart its unique, powerful rhythm. Let's just walk through it real quick. It all kicks off with phase 0, a huge rush of sodium ions into the cell, which causes that big spike. After a tiny dip, we hit phase 2, this critical plateau phase where calcium ions slowly start to enter. That's followed by phase 3, where potassium ions rush out to reset the whole thing, bringing the cell back to its resting state in phase 4, all ready for the next. And that brings us to the most critical player in this whole drama, calcium, back in phase 2. Calcium is the ultimate messenger here. The electrical signal, that action potential, sweeps across the cell and it triggers the release of these calcium ions. And it's this flood of calcium that physically unlocks the muscle fibers, allowing them to bind together and pull, creating the physical contraction. It's simple, really. No calcium, no beat. So this elegant interplay of electricity and chemistry creates some fundamental operating rules for the heart, making sure it behaves not just powerfully, but also safely and reliably, beat after beat after beat. Two of the most important rules are its refractory periods. During the absolute period, the heart cell is completely unresponsive. I mean, you could hit it with a lightning and nothing would happen. It's a mandatory rest. Then, during the relative period that follows, it can be stimulated, but it takes a much, much stronger signal. These are basically non-negotiable safety brakes built right into the system. And this is exactly why those brakes are so vital. That long absolute refractory period lasts almost as long as the muscle contraction itself. And what that does is it makes it impossible for the heart to have a sustained contraction, what's called tetanus, like your bicep muscle can. A heart that can't relax can't refill with blood, which would make it useless as a pump. This feature guarantees there is always a moment for refilling between every single beat. And finally, there's the all or none law. Remember that functional syncytium we talked about, that interconnected power grid? Well, because of that, you can't have a weak heartbeat. When a stimulus triggers just one cardiac muscle fiber, that impulse spreads to the entire network, and the whole unit contracts with maximum force for whatever the conditions are at that moment. It's either a full power contraction or it's nothing at all. And that really is the key takeaway. The heart's incredible reliability, it isn't magic. It's the result of a perfectly integrated system. Every single component, from the thickness of a chamber wall all the way down to the behavior of a single ion channel, has to work in perfect harmony. Which, of course, leaves you wondering, what happens when even the smallest part of that perfect blueprint begins to fail?